Hey everybody, just wanted to hop on and give a brief little short session here for those of you that weren't at the meeting today. Lots of really great content that, again, I just wanted everybody to have an opportunity to listen to as well. So here we go. Um, One topic that brought up to me is what happens when you have multiple people arguing a call with one umpire. And so I figured this would be a good talking point for us. So let's discuss unevenly matched arguments. Um, but before we get in there, we need to talk about who is it that actually can come out and argue a call? Who on the field can come out and talk to the umpires? And we find this on page 30 and 31 of our rule books. Rule 3, Section 3, Article 1, as it states, a coach, player, substitute, attendant, or other bench personnel shall not, and if you go down to letter F, it says commit any unsportsman act to include, but not limited to, and then go down to number 6, any member of the coaching staff who is not the head coach leaves the vicinity of the dugout or coach's box to dispute a judgment call by an umpire. So the only person that we should allow on the field to argue a call is the head coach. And that is to call time and come out of the dugout, to leave their position like in a coach's box. Again, it's only the head coach that can do it. First base coaches can't, assistant coaches can't, ADs in the dugout can't. It's the head coach. Those are the ones that are allowed to come out of the dugout. So I got two different scenarios to kind of talk through real fast on these as far as how this can be affected with unevenly matched arguments, meaning like we've got more people than umpires out on the baseball field. So scenario one, say that you've got a big blow up play at the plate and you've got one coach that's wanting to have obstruction or interference, and the other coach is upset that you're calling the runner safe or out. We got conflicting things, and whatever happens, it ends up with both head coaches coming out on the field to argue. This could happen. It's not likely, but it could certainly happen. My first question is this legal? And the answer is yes, because head coaches are allowed to come out on the field to call time and come out and discuss with the umpires. So let's look at this from the perspective of the calling official. Say that you're the plate umpire in the situation and you just made the call and you've got both coaches coming at you. You need to kind of make a choice. And pick one coach or the other. And I would suggest is pick the coach that you feel is the most irate or is the highest escalated in the situation. And that way you can focus your efforts on that one coach. If this happens really quickly and you got both coaches on you at the same time, address one coach and then try and maneuver yourself to where maybe you could put it back to a different coach or something like that, so it's obvious who you're talking to, or even briefly talk to the other head coach. Hold on just a moment. I'll get with you. Let me talk to this first. Okay. They may not like that answer and it may not help very much, but at least you're letting them give some sort of acknowledgement that you see them, but let's take care of the first thing. Okay. So there should be one coach and one umpire. That should what be the conversation happens with there. Okay. Now let's look at the from the perspective of the non-calling official. Okay. So you're the other umpire, you're the field umpire, or maybe you're the guy on the side, the you three or something that's just closest to the play, and you can get over there to help. Okay. A non-calling official has to be ready for this and come hustle in. And whichever coach the calling official doesn't take, that's the coach that you need to go get. You then need to go have a conversation with that coach. And as the non-calling official, I would challenge you to do more listening than talking, more acknowledging what he's stating. I hear you. Okay, I hear you. You know, those kinds of comments than saying much, because number one, it wasn't your call that happened, and two, we still may end up getting together and between you and your partner should things need to be discussed. So do more listening on, but the most important is that you get that other coach away from the calling official, so that way the calling official can have one-on-one conversation with that head coach, and then you as a non-calling official, again, you're having a one-on-one conversation with that head coach, and you can hopefully usher them to the dugout or get them, de-escalated and where whatever could happen next can actually happen with level heads. So again, this is legal. This could really blow up on you pretty quickly, but if we know how to handle and know that one umpire and one coach, that's the matchup that's the discussion that we are wanting to have, and for that non-calling official to come in and really help out as well. Let's talk about scenario 2, okay? And this one is a little bit different and actually has some other ways that we can help with. So scenario 2, we've got a really close play again, something that's just who knows, it's just a really blow up play. We got some big emotions coming out of the dugout, and we have multiple coaches from the same team are coming out to, as I wrote, invite you for drinks later after the game. That they want to have a conversation with the calling umpire. And in this scenario, let's look at it from the calling official standpoint first. If you are the calling official and you can see the head coach, again, you need to get that head coach to umpire match so that way y'all can have that discussion. If it's just a flood of people out of the dugout, you really should address that first. Tell the guys, stop. You cannot come out here. Assistant coach or whoever else is coming in, get back to the dugout, okay? You even could use your first few comments to the head coach to help get that under control. Coach, your assistant coach needs to get back to the dugout. He cannot be out here arguing the call. Can you help me before we have this discussion? Can you help me with that? You can use the head coach to see if he can then turn around and address the situation as well, okay? But chances are, if you have a situation like this, it's just going to blow up on you really quickly. And this needs the help of the non-calling official. So your partner out there on the crew, whether it's a 2-man or 3-man or 4-man, whatever, whoever's closest to them, the non-calling official has to hustle in and really help. Again, you're looking for the calling umpire and the head coach so they can have that one-on-one conversation. And then the non-calling official needs to come over and be rodeo clown and get everybody else away. If it's a player that's wanting to linger and argue, you've got to do your part and get that player away, get him back to the dugout, get him back to wherever he's supposed to be. If it's an assistant coach, you've got to get him back to the dugout, back to his coach's box, wherever he started from. But you as the non-calling official, that's your job. You get all the chaos away so that the umpire and the head coach can have that one-on-one conversation. Okay, we always want to have evenly matched discussions. Now, I need to say something specifically about assistant coaches and everything. So, if you look in your rule book on F6, okay, so that's where we are. If you go down to where the penalty is, it says the penalty shall warn the offender unless the offense is judged to be major, in which an ejection shall occur. So if you have a coach of any kind that just comes out of the dugout with such fire and such unsportsmanlike behavior, you can eject him right away. It says so right here, in which ejection shall occur if it's judged to be major, okay? If it's not, we've got certain protocols and things that we can use to help diffuse the situation, okay? So let's talk about our protocols real fast. And this applies to all of the situations that we handle on a baseball field, but especially when we get into these arguments and extra people out of the dugout. So first, we always want to acknowledge what is happening. Sometimes an acknowledgement could be something simple as "I hear you," or I've got you, coach, or something that is a response to whatever they're saying. Sometimes an acknowledgement is no, stop it. Sometimes an acknowledgement is get back to the dugout. That could be as simple as an acknowledgement. After you acknowledge whatever's going on, you've got another layer on that. You can give a verbal warning. If I'm going to give a verbal warning, I'm going to give a stop sign along with it. So a hand stretched out. Wow, that looks really good on camera. A hand stretched out, and it's going to be very obvious. I'm going to say, this is your warning. Those are going to be the words that I actually say. This is your warning. And then whatever the action, you need to get back to the dugout, or if balls and strikes, whatever it ends up being that, we're warning for that specific behavior, but it's going to have a stop sign and it's going to have the words, this is your warning. After a verbal warning, we have in high school baseball in the federation rules, we have what's called a written warning. And a written warning is just an official warning that gets written down in your book. It gets reported to the state, and that coach is bench restricted for the remainder of the game. More of that to come in just a second. But after you do the written warning, then the ejection would be the next thing. And I never ever want to be known as somebody that is advocating to eject people. That's not the purpose of umpiring. But you need to understand ejections are going to happen. They're a part of the game. Sometimes a coach needs to be ejected, and that's okay. But when you go through your protocol, when you acknowledge their behavior, when you give them the verbal warning, when you're able to give them a written warning, and then when you eject them, whenever you have to write your report or state your case to whoever it is, you need to call, you just very simply say, I acknowledge them. I gave them a verbal warning and they didn't stop. I gave them a written warning and they still didn't stop. And then so I ejected them. What else more could we do as umpires? We use the tools that we have, and the next step had to happen. So when you use the protocol, you are really backed by the rule book, and you have a very profound case to support your ejection. I do want to state, you can just go right to ejection. If there is something's going on that's just so severe, if a coach storms out of the dugout and calling you all kinds of wonderful, colorful names, and it's personal attacks to you, absolutely. Take care of that, eject the coach, write your report, and you'll be fine. But in almost every single time, try to get a warning in. Try to get that verbal warning in. Try to get that written warning in. So that way, if it does progress, you have taken care of the steps, okay? Now, so let's say that we're dealing with an assistant coach. That's the issue, okay? Remember, an assistant coach cannot leave the dugout or the coach's box to argue a play. It says that here in Rule 3, Section 3, F6. If you, as the non-calling official, come in and the assistant coach just continues to give you grief and continues to argue with him, as you go down this protocol, you give him a verbal warning. This is your warning. If you don't get back to your coach's box, I will have to give you a written warning, or you will be ejected, wherever you're at in your cycle. If he doesn't follow through, when you give them a written warning, it says in the penalty here, for a violation of F6, both the head coach and the offending coach shall receive a written warning. So if you give the assistant coach a written warning, that also applies to the head coach. You get a 2-for-1. Likewise, if you eject the assistant coach as well, then the head coach is restricted as well. And so that's just how it is. The head coach is ultimately in charge or responsible for his assistant coaches as well. So this hopefully will come from the non-calling official in the scenario that we described. Again, we want to strive for those evenly matched conversations. So head coach and one umpire, or non-calling official and assistant coach escorting him back to where it is to diffuse the situation, so that way we can have that one-on-one. And I'm also going to flip the roles here for just a moment. We want to have that one-on-one conversation. We also do not want to have two umpires and one coach, because then it's unevenly matched the opposite direction. It just doesn't make us look good. If we're getting together to make a call, the coach needs to be away. After we decide that, hey, we're going to make this call, we're going to make this change, then you go back to one umpire, one coach. That's how we always want to have these discussions. We want it to be evenly matched discussion. Taking turns quite a bit here, we're going to talk about runner's lane. I've been asked to clarify just some things real fast with this. Not getting into too much detail, but runner's lane comes from Rule 841G, this on page 54. And it talks about where a batter becomes a runner in this section. And then further down, it says a runner is out when blah, 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 blah. And we find this on letter G. And it says the batter runner is out when the batter runner runs outside the 3-foot runner's lane, last half distance from home plate to first base, while the ball is being fielded or thrown to first base. Or 1, this infraction is ignored if it is to avoid a fielder who is attempting to field the batted ball, or if the act does not interfere with a throw. And 2, the batter runner is considered outside the running lane if either foot is outside either line. So let's make a little bit of sense of that. First thing you need to know, the runner's lane is 45 feet long, and it's the second half of the base path. Hopefully on your baseball field, there's a line marking it. It's going to be a line perpendicular to the fair foul line at the 45-foot line, and then another line parallel to the fair foul line going up almost all the way to first base. So that outlines what the runner's lane is. And the runner's lane includes both lines in their entirety. So it includes the entire fair foul line, and it includes the entire of the runner's lane line on the far side and everything in the middle. So it's not just 3 feet, it's 3 feet plus whatever the width of the lines are as well. And this rule is in play while fielding or throwing to first base. So think of plays around home plate area. Those are the ones that we are looking for. And I got a couple of instances of things that we need to be mindful of. So like a bunt that lands right around home plate. That's what we're thinking of. A little dribbler, a little squib off the end of the knob, or even a drop third strike. Those are all plays that are coming from the catcher going to first base. And we've got to watch where the runner is, how he is in the runner's lane, okay? And I also put on here the 5-2-3 double play. So this is a ground ball to the ground ball to the third baseman who throws it home for a force out at home. Okay, say the bases are loaded. So ground ball to third base, throws it home, catcher steps on the plate and turns and throws to first base. This is a throw coming from the plate going to first base. The runner's lane is certainly involved in this. Yes, it's a second play, but don't get into that thing. Think of it. Hey, is this a play coming from the plate area going to first base? That is when the runner's lane is in there, is in act, okay? And as the runner is running, he needs to be in the runner's lane. So that means that if he's running with both feet, tight roping the line, is he good? Yes, he's fine. If he is running where one foot's on the line and the next foot's outside the line, one foot's on the line and the next foot's outside of the line, well, this is where we're going to have to umpire a good bit, because one moment he's fine, the next moment he's not. This is going to become really easy because if he gets hit with the ball, if the runner gets hit with the ball and his foot that's on the ground is on the line, then he's fine. If he gets hit with the ball and his foot is outside the line, then he's not fine. That one's really clear. But it's whether he interferes with a throw, that's where there's judgment in there. And you just got to umpire it. With him being on that outside foot, outside of the line, is that interfering with the throw? And you as an umpire, you just got to make a judgment call on that. So I didn't want to go too in depth in the runner's lane. This is more just a brief clarification for us, so that way we can finish out district play with all this in mind. Last thing I wanted to talk briefly about this is umpire like you are being recorded. And there's a great reason why I said this, because you are. Everybody has a smartphone nowadays. Everybody is taking videos and posting them on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and everything under the sun. You are being watched more than you ever know. Just this week, I got sent a handful of things and noticed a thing. So this is a picture from a game. I don't know when this game was. It looks like it maybe University High School. There's no umpires in there. I can't tell a date. I'm kind of glad that it's ambiguous, so that way I'm not ratting anybody out. But the text message came through to me that says, "I thought players were supposed to be in the dugout?" ? And from this picture, it's hard to tell. It looks like maybe the gentleman on the very far left, maybe he's standing in front of the screen. That would be out of the dugout. So, hey, number 12, let's just say he's 12. Hey, 12, get in the dugout. Okay, cool. Take care of that. There also looks like there may be a turf line. Maybe that's their markation line of the dead ball, live ball thing. And so, I don't know. It doesn't look too bad. But again, this is somebody taking a picture and sending in. I guarantee you these umpires have no idea that this picture got sent to me. And it just goes to show that we are being watched. We are being recorded. And we may not even realize it. Even in Waco, Texas, we have a growing in popularity Instagram account, and I'm giving them a little free publicity. But they've got great content. There are videos from high school baseball games from all over Central Texas. Yes, I'm the umpire in this video. And some of his videos has just 3,000 or 4,000 views on it. Other videos of his has 212,000 views. That was a video from just 2 weeks ago. Other videos of his have over 1 million views. And, you never know who's in the stands. He could be in the stands and just taking videos, and you never know it. He could pop in for 1 minute and he's got a platform of all these followers. And next thing you know, you're the next video that's going viral. We even have teams that do a great job of having just a local live stream for their parents and grandparents and stuff. Here, this is an example of what China Spring does, and they do a good job of just setting up a camera there and broadcasting it for their friends and family. And, some of them have 300, views-ish as this one do. A couple of them have a couple thousand and stuff. Basically, what I'm getting at is that you are always on camera, whether you know it or not, whether you are aware of where it's being posted or not. You're always on camera, and so you just need to act accordingly. You need to umpire like you're being recorded, and with the mindset that you are one play away from being featured on SportsCenter. You are one play away from being the next umpire that's getting all this publicity in the social medias or Twitter or whatever it is that goes on. So just be mindful, be professional, and umpire the game really well. So that's all I had for us this week. Keep up the great work, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And here we are, second half of district play, last month of the season, heading into playoffs. So the games get more and more important, even as with every day as we go. So happy umpiring, guys. Have a great week, and we'll catch you later.